So we got some takeout. It's it smells very good. We got halal Thai food, and I know it's halal because I can read. And this looks like a lot of food, but there was a buy one, get one free sale. So we're gonna actually pop this open. Probably eat off this for a few days. I'll just have cucumber and coffee until, what the hell is on with it?
Hey babe, what are you doing?
Getting our dinner ready.
Our dinner with that. Oh my god.
It's supposed to feed a lot of people.
I'm done.
Where? You forgot the camera! You like short hair? I can have short hair. You like blondes? I can be blonde. You're gonna get it. Eurobees and shit. Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Mark's around. Say hi, Mark. And this is Smokey Steve and Mark. Welcome or welcome back and happy Saturday. It is the weekend, so we are having some caffeine in the afternoon because we could party all night if we want to. And, of course, an unfinished basement. That's never changed. So today we're going to catch up with our fair lady Chantal. Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, Chantal and Salah, The Chantal Show. Currently Foodie Beauty. And it looks much more Foodie Beauty than it used to, if you follow what I'm going to be saying. So last week we were live. Actually, last 2 weeks we were live. And in the last one, we covered their tour of the tiger park with the sedated cats. We heard about how well-traveled she is compared to the rest of us. She doesn't know what or who traveled where, anywhere, but no one has spent as much time sitting on a hotel floor as Chantal. Her modesty and the sham that it is. The maybe it happened, maybe it didn't boil. She did a plus-size haul and then a bunch of 7-Eleven runs. So that's how she's taking in the local cuisine. Is that way. So this week I wanted to touch on just about 5 or 6 things, 4 or 5, proof of them being a couple and them creating content to try to be that proof. Let's see what else. They're still in Thailand. This vacation is getting a little extended and I'm not sure if it's on purpose, by accident, or by force, or by whatever. Salah's late night walks that he takes alone. Well, she comes along, but he's alone. She said she had jet lag in a video this week. Jet lag mirrors being stoned a little bit. And of course she insisted she wasn't, but she did. It was the most I had seen her look kind of out of it since she's been in Thailand. There was a bunch of mukbangs, pretty much feeder content, like mic'd chewing noises. And she needs views because we're getting towards the end of the month, and so we're starting to see a lot of content all of a sudden kicked out really fast. Few lives, a video, the more disgusting of the mukbangs. So to begin, proof of them being a couple. Now, Chantal, of course, insists that they are both married and that they are in love. And this is all very touching. She frames them in shots together. Like she tries to, he's doing it with his eye fucking himself with the camera, and she's leaning in, putting her head on him, or he's leaning over and he's putting his hand on her face. So she films him saying things like, "You look beautiful, babe," but it's not organic. Like, it's not natural. I understand that she wants to have him saying that love her on their couples channel as they are married. I get the motivation. But doesn't he say it spontaneously? Ever? While you're on camera? Does he ever just volunteer any of that kind of stuff? I suspect not. There's an awkwardness to them that I think they originally thought was only from YouTube, that they were mistaking it for his aunt, that she was his aunt, not his wife, or a grandmother, or somebody. And I think she could have thought, oh, YouTube is so catty. But in person, she said people have a hard time delineating their relationship because of just how they present one next to the other. And 2 people acting the fool, watching their videos, I don't know. It's as much an in-person vibe as it is on YouTube. So the people who see the awkwardness here see it on the streets too, as you catch them, looking at what's going by. So, is this the plan? Are they satisfied? So, they've been together now like a year almost. Coming up, a few months shy, maybe. And they're still together. So, there was, of course, shock disbelief when she said that she was going to Kuwait. Then was getting married. And I think it's still hazy deliberately under what marriage she's talking about. If it was a religious ceremony or if it was a legal ceremony. She'll say it's nobody's business because it would really be a big tell as to what the real motives are behind this. Salah's getting something out of it. She's getting something out of it. And so this extended stay in Thailand seems to be turning into something funded by gross mukbangs, private chats with feeders, maybe some cameos if anybody's left who cares. I don't know if this was their plan or if they're satisfied with the circumstances that they're in. Seems like they're there longer than they originally planned, or they're in a different position than they thought they would be by this time, because she's used words like held up, stuck, to describe like she's not leaving the house. Now, she didn't do it in Kuwait because it was hot, and now because she's a fugitive or something, she's hiding out. Any excuse not to be out and doing things. Did she buy one-way tickets to Thailand? I assume she would have bought round trip if they were planning to go back to Kuwait. She could this is like the international equivalent of couch surfing. Like, you have no home and no one wants to start one with you, so you just go different places all the time. I can appreciate that travel is her goal and she's doing some traveling. I hope she's enjoying it. The trade-off that she must have had to make between doing this trip at her size versus doing it at a lighter weight where she could maybe do more, where she could keep up with Salah, where he wouldn't have to go alone at night on his walks to wherever he's going. Do we know? Do we not know? Do we care? If she's being herself, she cares. She's doing the whole, like, natter. Text 1,000 times, blah, 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 and no response. So he's going around live, streaming, while she moderates and the chat. So, I don't know. In the meantime, they're going to eat. All they're going to do is eat. And I don't know if Salah knows that feeders are a thing. Like, I'm curious as to how much. I suspect she only tells him as much as she wants him to know about any part of YouTube, so she can keep some power to herself vis-a-vis some secrets that she'll keep to herself, too. But if she's making content for other men to enjoy while they're watching her eat, and he's holding the camera, what kind of a cuck is he anyway? So I don't know if it's really anything he knows about, if he cares, if it's all fake. Probably not. Even if this was all supposed to be staged from the beginning, I think, like happened with Natter, that she believed he would just naturally fall in love with her once they spent enough time together. And that doesn't seem to have happened very much. She makes a video by herself and everyone's like, where's Salah? And she's like, everyone wants to know where Salah is. It's like, well, if he's at work, say work. If he's out, say out. Everyone wants to know because you talk about it like you're, welded at the hip to the two of you, and you're always out together and always doing things, or he's home, but I think things are getting a little tense after staying in Thailand for this length of time. So, the content with the feeding and everything like that, the sloppy mukbangs, which we'll talk about in a sec, were so targeted to the feeder audience. There was no mistaking who she was trying to get. They, I think, are the most reliable parts of her audience, and see enough of it to pay her way. I don't think she's going to hit big mukbang money like people who put effort into their videos. But I think that there's still the idea in her head, which is true, that she can get money from feeders by eating erotically. Is it a kink shame? I think it's pretty fucking weird. But I guess I shouldn't kink shame either. What's interesting is that her husband is the one buying the food that she eats, while other guys jack off. Make it make sense. Now, Salah, as of recent, has been going out doing some walks in the evening. So she's home, she's not with him, and he goes out into the night live streaming. So, we're going around with Salah, who's just walking around the street like this, winking and giving the eye fuck to other women as he goes by, I'm sure, and filming that in hopes of getting super chats or getting people to watch or anything like that. I had a sinking feeling that the boil was exaggerated, the boil she had on her leg, because it would be very, very easy for her to manipulate that situation to her advantage. So she goes in to see a doctor, a professional, somebody. I assume for modesty's sake, Salah's nowhere to be found. So let's say she has a bit of a boil and ingrown hair. It wouldn't be a surprise. She goes in, they give her a cream, she leaves. She exaggerates the seriousness of it so she can be immobile for a couple days. It gives her a good excuse for a while, and it gives her an excuse to explain where $1,000 went. I suspect, though I don't know, that she takes advantage of him being kind of, we're going to call it naive and be friendly. And she makes use of that. She needs her leverage, and her leverage here is that she can manipulate him in, by speech and stuff, and he will do whatever, whether she promises money, ticket to Canada, whatever she's promised. It keeps him moving. So I do find it interesting because mukbangs are, lazy content for the most part. They don't have to be, but hers tend to be. She'll open up and share a dish she doesn't know what it is, where it's from, taste it, say it tastes very fresh, and then generically make big chewing noises for the next 15 minutes while eye darting all over the place. That's pretty textbook Chantal. We've been doing the eye darting since she would pull up to Burger King, sit in an empty parking lot, and binge, like happy people do. So, lazy content, him hoping for super chats, and it reminded me of, if you ever watched The Golden Girls, Blanche was telling a story about a guy she was with, several guys she was with, and she was talking about all their travels and stuff, and the other ones were like, how do you know all that? And Blanche said, I tagged them for migratory purposes. That's exactly what this reminded me of with him. That now she gets to see what he's doing, know where he's going, and she can do it from home and give him feedback from home. So she trusts him a lot because he's in constant contact, unless that camera goes off. He was a little bit later coming home, I think, than she expected a couple times, but he might have interest. Mobile people want to go do things. They don't just do it for 2 days and then sit home and eat for the rest of the time. I get the feeling she did like the vacation-y stuff and is done. She's not doing any more museums. She's not going anywhere else. She's not walking up nothing. At this point, she's done with the tourist thing, and she just wants to sit there, eat, and make money going into next month. But it's typical Chantal. End of the month, she's banging them out. She had like 3 lives, a disgusting mukbang. Well, we'll talk in a second. But yeah, she's treated him like a child. People wonder back and forth about their relationship. Like I said, it looks like in public, she looks like his aunt. She looks like his grandmother, something like that. She doesn't trust him to go out, hence the camera that goes with him, because she's untrustworthy. She's cheated on everyone she's ever been with. And it's not likely to... Past behavior is often, not always, but often a good predictor of future behavior. She would think Salah might be cheating because she knows she would, as long as he didn't find out. So since she's dishonest, she assumes other people are as dishonest because she thinks she's a good person. But it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna work. It's like his nanny going with him. That's what it reminds me of, a nanny. And she goes with just to keep her eye on him, like you would keep an eye on a kid in public, and that's the nature of their relationship. Maybe it looks caring, but it sure as shit doesn't look romantic. So I'm not sure exactly how comfortable they are in each other's space. It looks awkward. It looks like 2 people on a blind date on the first date, kind of testing each other for personal space. It's just very weird. I'm sure when the camera goes off, she corrects him on how he's supposed to touch her and talk to her and look at her. For filming him saying, "You look beautiful today, babe." And she says, "Oh, thank you." But it's not sincere. It's not a sincere compliment. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's out doing something. Maybe he's going to the red light district. Maybe he's having a good time. I don't know. But if he was having a better time at home, he'd stay home. Or if she came out with him, they could both enjoy it. But this is the part where she isn't saying, "I'm not going out because I'm too fat to walk." She's just acting that way. She's just acting like, we did enough, I'm done. Doesn't matter anymore. Just run filler content. All those vlogs that were terrible from the last couple weeks. Ones that frame them in not a good light. So they can do, of course they can do what they want, and they can stay in a hotel and she can eat on camera and he can go out at night and all that goes on. But she doesn't understand that it looks different. Maybe not weird, but different. Like, when Mark goes out, I don't give him my phone running live and then text him periodically to make sure he's aware that I'm watching. Trust is a big part of relationships. If she thoroughly trusts her husband, then there's no need for suspicion. There's no need for old insecurities. Further, she's usually the cheater. I don't know about Salah's past. I don't think he dated much, just putting that out there. She's a cheater, has been. Now, she's trying to move on from her past. I get that. But sometimes, in some ways, people are capable of change. I mean, I believe in recovery and transformation. People do get better mentally, physically, all those kind of things. But since she seems like disinterested in it and is kind of fine, she's just like made her deal with the devil and is gonna eat until she dies from that bitter gluttony. And it's not gonna be pretty. And it's not gonna be sympathetic. It's gonna, I don't know, marry him. Keep your man at home if you're worried about him. Don't send him out with a tracking device. Please. So let's talk about jet lag for a moment, shall we? Now, jet lag often mirrors intoxication, apparently, or that's what we're supposed to be going on the premise of. Was she high on stream? People thought she might have been high on stream. It's hard to tell sometimes. She did have a little bit of bloodshot. She was a little bit chattier than usual and a little happier than usual. So, I don't know. She was acting high, and I'm wondering if like she smokes when he goes out. Because maybe it pisses him off. So fine, you're going to go out and take walks at night without me. I'm going to send you with a tracking device and tell you what to do, not to do, text you, moderate, all of it. So she gets to kind of, see what he's doing without being there. Even though she wasn't high, according to her, she insists she doesn't smoke every day, then corrected herself and said that she just doesn't smoke. I was an alcoholic, a very serious alcoholic, don't look surprised. And you could have put me in a rubber room and I would have found a way to get drunk. It finds a way. The determination of self-destruction within addiction, you will do things you don't even think you could do. Feats of strength, acts of deception, all that kind of stuff. So, yes, if she's still in Thailand, I absolutely think she could have found some stuff to have fun with. Absolutely. Does Salah know or not? She doesn't go too many places by herself. But she would have to have been a little bit slick to cop while she was there, or find some legal substitute or whatnot. But why lie about it? Like, if it's harem, like everything else she does, what's the big, why care? Why lie about it? She says, you guys always think I'm high. It's because for 2 years you were. It's not an unfair guess. So, whatever. Somehow this will be Salah's fault. Whenever something's wrong, it's Salah's fault. And I get the feeling that her monitoring his walks in the evening, essentially, goes into that. She's checked out of Thailand before they've actually checked out. So she's just sitting around eating, trying to bank some feeder money, waiting for the month to roll over and decide where they're allowed to go next, I guess. So we were treated, if you must, to a series of yucky, noisy mukbangs. They're popular among a lot of her viewers. She gets good views when she puts up a mukbang of her eating something. It's at least 10,000. Now, she used to make quite a bit more, but Chantal wasn't as much of an overt asshole back then as she is now. She was almost quirky, funny, and charming. She was then what she thinks she is now. She's a different kind of person than she was. She's much meaner outwardly. She's much more self-centered outwardly. At least keep that unflattering shit to yourself. How hard could it be to put on a face for YouTube for 20 minutes that you can't slip out and start going on a diatribe about how everyone has screwed you over and how you're so much happier than everyone, sitting, splayed, eagle, on a floor, eating food sloppily to try to coerce money from horny men who get off on it, and your husband holds the plate. Oh man, am I jealous. And so as the mukbangs kind of processed at the end of this week, well, mid to end of week. We had one where she was eating a variety of fruit. She had said Thai fruit, I think. Not necessarily all indigenous. She bought it in Thailand. That makes it Thai. And she sits and samples all of them. Now, the fact that she's eating fruit probably is unsettling to her anyway, so she did have to take the risk. Fiber and water from a natural source? Kryptonite. So she tried all of them, and they were all fresh, crisp, and juicy. She gave most of them almost a 10 out of 10. Salah's in the background giving his rank. I guess he's eating his own or so I don't really know. There was a live dinner bees where she had had Casbah rice and some chicken, which looked really good. And that's a dish she used to make, I remember, I think when she lived with BB. I know when Natter was on the scene, she'd make this food like she was descendant of the region herself. Like her mama was from there and she knows how to cook all this stuff. Some of the other stuff she cooks that I'm familiar with, I mean, it's not Natter level of gross, but you can tell when she's cooking for herself and when she's cooking for somebody else. Because when she's cooking for herself, it's like the Heart Attack Grill Blue Plate special kind of thing. So, dinner bees, blah blah. She had Thai food for about 3 people, and she dumped some spicy shit all over it. That was the packet I was struggling with in the beginning of the video. She spent quite a bit of time. It was a sauce, and it was in a bag with a twist top. Trying to open it. She doesn't know what it is, but then proceeds to dump it all over her entire meal. She's going in it with chopsticks, so you would think she wouldn't eat as fast or in as big of bites as if she used a fork or a spoon. Nope, she's proficient enough to get that first bite, unhinge her jaw like an anaconda, and just put the food in. And she had put so much shit on this food that was spicy that Salah had to come and like dab her forehead and rub her eyes because she was crying from how hot it was. Hey, it's your job. Sorry. You know, if you need an assistant to help you in mukbangs, then maybe you are a little lazy. You need an assistant to eat. And eating makes you sweat. She's just a sweaty person. She's 400 pounds in a hot jungle climate. She's just going to be sweaty. And in her circumstances, no, if I was 400 pounds and sweaty in hell, I wouldn't want to go out walking around or doing anything. And if I was that set dead against it, then maybe Salah did go out on his own and said, look, I'm in Thailand. I've been here. He was there before, I think. So maybe he has some places he likes, hobbies he's interested in, some fat to be had in the red light district, whatever he's going to do. So she either trusts he isn't going to do it, but sending him out to live stream in real time while monitoring the chat isn't so trustworthy. Him making money off of that had nothing to do with her being in there monitoring. He was just walking around showing video of shit. Shaky, not terribly interesting. So, whatever. She did go for poutine. They went for poutine. Poutine is prostitute, I think. I had an ex-boyfriend, God love him, he still lives in Canada, who I had sent him earlier in the year. No, it was like a couple years ago. It was during COVID. I said, can you please, I'm going to send you a word. Can you record yourself pronouncing it? I don't get it right. She don't get it right either. So they go for poutine. I bet she could walk just fucking fine the day they were going for poutine. They go to yet another empty restaurant to get it. This is a theme of them. They go to empty restaurants. Now, I can see wanting privacy to film, but I think she wants privacy to eat as she wants with as few observers as possible. So if you're a proud woman, thick in her size and will not be shamed, why are we like a crackhead trying to throw down our food and see who's watching? No one's going to steal it from you, Chantal, okay? It's there. It's in front of you. Salah paid for it. So you don't have to rush through it so much. They went to the place where they got the poutine, and they're both having some, and of course, it's great, babe. And she had the door open a crack in the restaurant. They were the only two in there besides the people working, I think. Let the dog in. Hi, honey, aren't you cute? It's got a harness on. Dog walks into the store. And then she asks the people, oh, is this your dog? Don't let animals in the store. But see, it doesn't have consequences for Chantal to do something like that. So it doesn't matter. She can't see past her own bulbous nose. And I have situations where I'm like that too, but I'm usually profoundly manic or otherwise mentally ill when it gets so self-centered the way she is normally. I mean, I work in mental health. I'm not a diagnosing professional at all. But people have suggested things that if I'm going to give my dime store medical opinion on, that they're right. There's a lot of things that go on with her that she thinks just aren't problems either, or she thinks she's immune to them. This is the kind of person who gets told they're pre-diabetic, and because they never went back to the doctor, they're still pre-diabetic because nothing has changed in the meantime. So you don't go back to the doctor because you don't want to hear it. I bet her optometrist would talk to her about her weight. Any medical professional who doesn't bring it up isn't doing her any service at all to not address it. They shouldn't be shaming her for it. Well, seriously. But not addressing it is not looking at the whole problem. I mean, if she was missing all the skin off her right arm but came in for a broken ankle, would you not mention it, even though you're just setting her ankle? So you would think, you would hope. So they had poutine, and then just today, maybe last night, she had double pasta feast mukbang, and she had fettuccine alfredo and chicken parm, and neither one looked like traditional Olive Garden-y, not traditional Olive Garden-y stuff like she usually likes. And it was spicy, too. The Alfredo didn't look too Alfredo-y. The chicken in the chicken parm looked good, but then whatever sides were with it didn't seem to be very good. There was a warning at the beginning of that video we were going to have intense eating noises. It's not traditional Thai food. It's just Thai in the preparation, which she says. And there was no garlic bread. She was upset about that. Salah ordered mac and cheese, like a 9-year-old boy. So that reminded me of the movie My Blue Heaven, where Rick Moranis and Steve Martin are in a hotel room, and Steve Martin's playing an Italian person, and he says, I want Italian food. And Rick Moranis says, they have Italian dressing, mac and cheese, all that kind of stuff. So he dines about as adventurously as she does, I think. And the pasta mukbang was particularly gross. And I don't think it's for anything other than, like, needing views at this moment. It's not to piss anybody off. It's not to stir drama. It's just to get views. So we have her doing all these other things to get them. And in the interest of getting views and super chats, just in the last 24 hours, maybe 36, she did 3 lives. And as sloppy a mukbang as you could imagine with the pasta and the whatnot. It's coming down to the end of the month. So whatever you make by the 30th goes into the next month. So if she's looking at her math, she says she has a set number in her head that she decides she wants to make money-wise, view-wise, probably money-wise. And once she hits it, she doesn't really care. She's not, looking to get ahead or expand. She's not looking to expand her effort. She's looking to expand her income, which is a little bit different, which is why the cameos come up all the time in that cringe-ass tourist, voice. I don't like it. So, I don't know. I mean, the mukbangs, like I said, are pretty much for her feeder audience. And if Chantal knows what interests feeders and what they do when they're interested, I'm curious as to why he doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't know, or he doesn't care. I think she wished he cared, but he probably doesn't care. Now, with the lives and the mukbangs and everything, I think she kind of has him a little snowed. Because when she's telling him, look, kid, this is how I make my money. This is how I make our money. So either get on board or get out. And I think she probably left it to that with him and probably tells him, I've been doing this for years. I know what I'm doing. So even if it doesn't look like it makes sense to him, or it looks like she's just defying him or doing she wants something to do outside of her faith, it's really of no consequence. The men she's eating to turn on, well, I don't want to assume anyone's gender. Maybe there's women watching too, whose specific interest is to get off on the fact that she's slurping heavily, mic'd periodically that she's slurping heavily, and making all sorts of food noises. Who are they for? Who are they for? Let's not all be dumb about this. This is the most solid part of her audience. And one of her favorite things to do is eat. And she tripped real early in her channel onto the combination of story, mukbang, be interesting but not too interesting, eat a lot but not sloppily, and then it's just gotten more extreme as she has gotten more extreme over the past, I don't know how many years. So, yeah, I think she's blowing smoke at Salah, saying she knows what she's doing, and so he'll just go along with whatever because she's laying in with her experience as a trump to his religion or morality to say, do this, don't do that, don't do this. And once she's done doing whatever she wants to do, she has a boil. And then sits home. That's it. What was it? The bad knee sprain? There's always an injury. There's always a lingering medical problem of some sort that she can go back to. Emotionally, she does it too. I'm just really having a hard time, guys, from back when Timbit died. So she can try to create a scenario emotionally that she thinks other people would understand if she self-medicated with. So if she gets hysterical and something bad happens, she'll order the food, sit there and be like, I just want to eat. I just want to eat. Cope. Learn to cope. Learn to cope. It's no crime to be fat, but you act like it's a mystery or something you can't do anything about. And it gets in the way of you doing the things you want to do. Present time. We're not talking about even Kuwait. We're talking about in real time. You're home in a hotel while your husband is out going elsewhere. Is your laziness trumping your jealousy? There's a question. There's one. And so where do we go from here? Well, going into next week, we'll see if they travel. We start receiving a lot of recorded content, at least the last couple times she traveled. We'd get mukbang, clothing haul, some dumb shit, but no lives. So she's certainly there now with all the lives that we're seeing and trying to get super chats and trying to be controversial and coming on camera and being, is she high, is she not high, which creates speculation, which creates views, which just creates discussion, and all of that is good for her, ultimately. We need a few more good community post rages, though, too. Something that she can chew on. She needs to have a villain, otherwise it becomes her. So there's always someone she has to point out that's doing something worse than she is. Not that what she's doing is fine, because she doesn't care about that. Just that somebody else is doing something worse, and so she's on the high road to it. And her remarkable devotion to her faith really keeps her in check, I guess, with that harem red lipstick. Anyway, so thank you all for watching and thank you all for joining. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell. You get alerts when we have new videos and go live. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's in the description down below. Thank you, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. We're supposed to go live at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's the plan. That's what we're up for. And it's an open chat, no topic. We just sit, chill, BS. We have good mods, good lurkers. We just have a good time. So if you're free tomorrow at 6, please do join us. Thanks for watching. Bye. Say bye, Mark. Bye.